Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 174th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The first thing I'd like to say is I hope you all had a really great Christmas. We had all our family come around to stay with us over Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and we had a really great time, and I hope you did too. Okay, the team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Kal, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Legion 22, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. And then we have Brotherhood member CONAN, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. As you know, CONAN is the co-founder of the Brotherhood. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who unusually has bought the Macedon faction. So there's our team there, full of experience, but you wait till you see the other team. Should be a great one to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at my quite old Macedon army here. I think this army is probably 3 or 4 years old, and I remember after being defeated by a Greek cities army, when I came out of that game, I made this Macedon army. The sole purpose of this Macedon army is to take on Greek cities. As you can see here, it's got 4 Cretan archers, and I think I've got, with their long distance and the damage that they can cause, and I think I've got about 16 good pike units as well. So it'd be interesting to see how this army does on the modern battlefield against good Greek city player. Also, I thought at this time in the battle we'd have a look at Conan's formation here and his army. As you can see, I think he's got 17 infantry units and just 3 cavalry units there. If you notice that formation of his, I think we've looked at this before. I think we call it the fan formation there. As you can see, it's like opened up like a fan, and this is an extremely strong formation that Conan's used on several occasions before, and has proven to be an extremely good formation. Should be interesting to see how well this army does. And here is the other team. We have RTW player AMOS, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. I imagine a lot of you will know AMOS. He plays 31k games quite a lot. And then we have Titans ODIN, who has bought the Greek cities faction. So that's Titans ODIN there. Put the game on pause for a second. And the next teammate is Brotherhood member MYSTIQUE, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And then we have RTW player INDI, who's also bought the Rome SPQR faction. So there's the other team there. A lot of experience. This hopefully be a great one for you to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Titans Odin is bringing his Greek cities army over here. If you notice, he's putting his archers out the front. He's probably hoping to either maybe target moving infantry, or he may be even looking to target cavalry there by moving his Greek cities army forward that quickly. As you can see there, I think most of our allies' infantry are now settled, so my guess is that you'll probably try and target those cavalry units just behind our allies' infantry there. You notice he's moving forward quite a long way now, probably just to get into range to fire at the cavalry. There you can see he's firing fire arrows there at our allies' Julii cavalry there. If you notice there, Conan's moved his infantry across there to face him there if he moves forward anymore. And if you notice, my Macedon army is still at the back there, ready to move against the Greek cities when the time is right. If you notice there, as the Greek cities army is moving back from Conan's army there, can you see its last unit there, that armoured hoplite unit is running back. My archers have just been deployed, so now they'll start shooting that unit in the back. Remember that That's the weakest spot of any unit in RTW, is the rear. And if you move away from the enemy who are firing arrows into you, then you are going to lose a lot of men, because as I say, the back of any unit is the most the weakest part there. If you notice, that unit suffered a heck of a lot of casualties there, just because they moved back while under archer fire. New players watching this, that's something to always look out for there. There's a general disposition of our army there. Our armies there, that's our teams there, and as you can see, the enemy teams are moving around, moving out to engage us there. If you notice in this battle, there seems to be a lot of lag. I noticed with a lot of 4v4 large steam battles, there seems to be a lot of lag lately. So I hope the lag doesn't spoil the game too much for you to watch. As you can see here, Conan's moved over to the left flank there, in front of the Greek cities. And if you notice, I've moved my Macedon army over there as well, so that if we maybe wanted to do a double attack on that Greek cities, we could do there. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you can see that the enemy there are moving forward, probably with a view possibly to attack here on this right flank. I know that the INDI is quite an aggressive player, and my thoughts are there that he will probably attack on this flank here. You see he's facing Brotherhood member Kal with the green Brutii army here. Kal has been playing RTW for a long time, so I should imagine that his years of experience will tell on the battlefield today. If you notice here, India's got quite a wide formation there with his army. A wide formation is quite good for a flanking action here. You notice that most people on RTW usually have got a narrower, if you like, front, but with a more depth formation. But if you notice there, India has got quite a shallow formation, but wide, just right for flanking, especially on the obviously we're in the position he is there now. He's moving out to the left here, obviously, as I said, with a view to probably flank Kal there.
Units, move out.
Nice movement by Indy there, turning our right flank there. Now, if you notice that Kal has moved 4 units over to face the threat of that flanking action, but if you notice the rest of his army there, they're actually showing its flank. If you notice his army there a little bit more up in the centre is showing his flank to Indy. So I wonder if Indy will spot that and maybe attack there in time. As you can see here, Indy's troops throwing pilers into Kal's Testudo units there, or units in Testudo. And if you see all that SPQR cavalry out there as well, ready to charge in. So my guess is that India's going to move forward. There you are. Can you see he's spotted that some of Kal's units there are exposing their flanks to him here, and he's moving forward. Now, with all that SPQR cavalry out there as well, there could be a bit of a hit there. But if you notice, Kal's noticed the danger there and is now moving his units back to actually face the SPQR danger there. Nice attack and move there by Indy, and a nice recovery there by Kal, if you like. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that I'm running my Macedon army now towards the enemy Greek cities army. And what I would like to do is to take on that Greek cities army head on here. Let's just pause the game here for take stock of the situation. As you can see here, as I said, I'm moving my Macedon army over towards the Greek cities army. Can you see that Titan's Odin's put his armoured hoplites, 3 armoured hoplites there? I think with a view to try and hold or distract my army there, where his elite Spartans, he could then move off to different parts of the battlefield. We'll have to see what happens here. Right, veterans seeing this will see straight away the danger that the enemy team is in now. Can you see this massive gap between their armies there, that Conan could just move his whole army through that gap and isolate Odin's Greek cities army there, and even attack the rear of the enemy SPQR infantry who are engaged with our Julii ally there. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you remember our team, our green Brutii and red Julii, and we are facing the SPQR enemy team, the purple SPQR enemy team there. So if you just remember that, just new players watching this, remember the purple SPQR are the enemy team, the green and the red Brutii and Julii are our armies there, and of course the Greek cities army is the enemy team as well, and the our Macedon faction is our team there. Right, you see, moving over here on the left flank, as I said, I think that was Odin's play there, to leave those armoured hoplites there to maybe slow down or distract my army, whereas then he's got his elite Spartans, remember, with their 2 hit points and their great specifications there to move off to anywhere on the battlefield. Let's see if that's going to be his tactic. Remember, he's got a lot of archers. I think he's got something like 7 or 8 archers, that all the time those archers are bombarding my pikemen. And those of you that play RTW will know that Macedon pikemen are very susceptible to missile damage. So my troops are suffering a great deal from the archer fire there. Okay, can you see what we said there? It looks like Odin's leaving those armoured hoplite units there as kind of a distraction, or maybe even a bit of a holding force there. Well, he can then move his elite Spartan units off to where he wants to on the battlefield there. If you notice a little bit further up on the battlefield, can you see that Conan has taken advantage of that massive gap I showed you earlier, and is now moving over to attack the rear of the enemy SPQR troops there. Okay, now Odin's has now spotted this and is now taking his Spartan units over to probably try and attack the rear of Conan's army as Conan is attacking the enemy SPQR infantry there. As you can see over on the right flank here, it is a real tussle going on here. Right, let's just pause the game for us to take stock of exactly what's happening. Remember, guys, here watching this, that the purple are the enemy team, very strong there, and our allied team are the red Julii and the green Brutii. There's a close-up of the fighting there. If you notice that Conan's turned several of his units to face backwards as he spotted the Greek city units coming in behind. Nice bit of spotting there by Conan, using his years of experience, watching all the battlefield, not just a small part of it there. As you can see, the enemy SPQR team there, still numerous numbers there, even though Conan's moved his big army over there. It's still a real tussle there on the right flank, as I said earlier. Okay, so you can see the Greek cities, as I said, elite Spartan units moving over to the fray there on the right. And if you notice, I've upped my spears and I'm now running, chasing those Greek cities. I'm not too bothered about those armoured hoplite units that he's left back there to delay and hold me. I'm just going to ignore those as best I can and move forward. But all the time, his archers, those Greek city Cretan archers, are firing loads and loads of arrows into my troops. And as I said earlier, Macedon pikemen are extremely susceptible to missile damage, so I am losing a lot of men as I'm moving. So as you can see here, I'm trying to catch up to those Greek cities Spartans there, as I'm moving over to try and counter their attack there. I think the battle on the right flank here is going to be the pivotal part of the battle. I think whoever wins on this right flank, I think will probably go on to win the battle. So the right flank is extremely important, and that's what Conan spotted as well. That's why he's taking his army over there. Okay, if you notice now, I've caught up with at least the rear rank of the Greek cities there with my Macedon pikemen. And as you see now, I've downed pikes to face them. But there's a row of Spartans that I'm not engaging yet that could run forward and go into the back of Conan's army there. And there you go. Can you see those Spartan units now are attacking Conan's units? Let's just pause the game for us to take stock of exactly what's happening now. As you can see here, Conan's army is now attacking the the SPQR infantry there, as you can see, but he's turned several units back to face the Greek city's Spartans as they move in on him. That's the general position there of the battle. You can see that Conan is charging cavalry, and probably with a view to finish off those SPQR troops that are caught kind of in a bit of a sandwich-like vice there in the centre. You can see, remember, Kal is the green Brutii there, and he's attacking. And remember that the purple SPQR are the enemy team. So new players watching this, just by looking at the colours there, you can tell, you know, at a glance exactly what's happening on the battlefield there, and who's in the best position and who's maybe not. As you can see here, I've in my Macedon army put my pikes down, and I've engaged those 3 or 4 Spartan units that were sent there to kind of hold me, I think, there. So what I'm going to do now is I think the best thing that I can do is to up some pikes from some of my units and run some of my units over to help going into the back of those Greek city units there.
Great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
Right, if you notice now, I've upped pikes, I think, of about 4 of my units there, and I'm now going to move them forward to engage the rear of those Greek city units, those Spartan units that are attacking the rear of Conan. Right, now just try to draw your attention a little bit to the top of the picture here. Can you see the enemy SPQR infantry units moving across there? Now that's Mystique's army. Mystique's army is pretty well intact. The infantry of Mystique's is pretty well intact, and they're moving off to the left flank there. Okay, now can you see that I've moved 4 or 5 units of my Macedon pikemen forward there to engage the rear of those Greek city units there. Meanwhile, over on our left, if you notice there that, as I said, let's just pause again for a second, that the enemy SPQR infantry have moved out to my left. I'm being engaged by those 3 or 4 Spartan units at the front, and my guess is that maybe Mystique came over here thinking that they could take out the left flank, i.e. my army here. Then they could those Greek city units plus the Macedon SPQR faction could take on the rest. Right, can you see these black bodies here? This is where my men have been killed by fire arrows. You'll see there's black bodies all over the battlefield where my Macedon army have been running and moving across, and they're all the time being hit by fire arrows there. So you can tell just by those few you looked at there, the damage that my army suffered from fire arrows. Okay, moving over to the right here, you can see, as I said, my Macedon unit moving on those Greek city units. Conan has turned his Julii units to face those Greek city units as well. There's a bit of a close on. If you notice the length of the Macedon pikes in comparison to the Greek city pikes, you can see that those Macedon pikemen have certainly got long pikes there to move forward onto the Greek city units. So there's a general overview of the picture there of the battle. Let's say over here on the left, you can see that Mystique has moved her infantry units around there to the left. As I said, probably with a view here to take out my Macedon army, and then those Greek city units that are there, and Mystique's SPQR units could be in a good situation to take on the rest of my allies there. If you notice, I've moved a few of my units over to the left now, facing left there, anticipating the SPQR attack. But if you can see, if you notice the amount of fire arrows going into my Macedon units there, you can imagine how much damage that my units are taking there. Meanwhile, over here on the right, you can see gradually we are beating the enemy team there. Can you see Mystique's charging some cavalry here? Knowing that the Macedon morale is not very good, if she could have started a few units of mine routing there, she probably could have started a mass rout of my my army there. So it was a nice move, but the gamble didn't quite come off there. Right, if you notice now, my Macedon units that I sent over to help with the Greek cities have done their job. They've defeated those units, those Greek city units that were attacking Conan. So I'm now taking my Macedon units back over to my main army, where my general is, to help try and support those units against the enemy SPQR and those Spartan units. But just once again, draw your attention to all those fire arrows that are coming into my units all the time. Remember, fire arrows lower morale as well as causing casualties. So as you can see there, My guys will be taking lots and lots of casualties there.
Great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a
Right, we've
home
just
in our
killed the
enemy's hearts.
Greek city's general, and if you notice, even though the Spartans have got excellent morale, because they were so battle damaged, they've just routed there. Meanwhile, over here on the right flank, you remember that our team are the green and the red, fighting the enemy SPQR units there. As you can see over here on the left, there's still several SPQR units left. Still, some of them with even pilers thrown into my my Macedon units there. As I say, Macedon pikemen are extremely susceptible to any missile fire, pilers, arrows, as most of the big piler units are from Seleucid or Pontus. Very susceptible to archer and piler damage. If you notice the black, as I say, if you see all the black bodies that have been burnt on the battlefield from fire arrows, you can see how just from there how many casualties I've suffered from those fire arrows there. As you can see, Conan now is bringing over his Julii units there to help take on what's left of the SPQR army that's here over on the left. As you can see there now, don't forget our allies are the green Brutii and the red Julii, and remember that the enemy team are the purple SPQR. Once again, I try to make these battles easy for new players to look at and understand exactly what's happening, so that's why I explain the colours, because then you can just look at the colours and realise exactly what's happening on the battlefield there. As you can see, there's some of my Macedon pike units there still engaging the enemy. And if you notice, here's some SPQR enemy SPQR archers here, typically firing fire arrows into the back of our units. There's a good shot for you there. You see how they're firing those fire arrows in, and they're in close formation. So if you've got your archers in close formation, they can do a lot more damage, as their arrows are more kind of compact when they go into the enemy there.
They're attacking us!
You notice now several of the SPQR units are starting, the enemy SPQR units are starting to rout now.
The enemy general is running away. This
And it
is
looks
no
like,
way for a leader to behave.
After a
But
really
in
tough battle there, it looks like our
beyond
team
belief.
has managed to go on and to win this.
gods be
If you notice here, I just wanted to show you
praised.
this over on the
The
right
enemy's hearts are
flank.
full of
Look
fear,
at the
and now
piles
they
of dead
flee.
on this right flank. This goes to show how intense the fighting was here over on the right. That is really, really intense fighting there, as you can see. That is a massive dead there. So that just goes to show it was a really tough tussle there over on the right. Then we come over to the left, and you can see there was quite a bit of action there. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in both teams there. Lots of great attacking moves, some great defending moves too. Once again, sorry about the lag in the battle there, but I've noticed that a lot of 4v4 large battles on Steam seem to lag now, even on the replays. Just like to draw your attention to Odin there, Titan's Odin that bought the Greek cities. Now if you notice, most of the time there we seem to be engaging him with my Macedon pikemen. I know he did get over and attack Conan's Julii infantry there, but if you notice the kills that he's got, the highest kills in the game. But new players watching this, getting the highest kills in the game doesn't necessarily mean you're on the winning team, although obviously it usually does. Just like to say, really well played to Conan, Legion 22 and Cal on my team. Extremely great play there by you guys, well played, and well done to the other team too. It was a really great game to be in, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. This is Spartan Commander saying bye for now.